The biblical flood, the memory of waters, and the rebirth of the earth. Kardec teaches that the narrative of the biblical flood, although shrouded in symbolism, is based on a natural and historical fact that occurred in a limited region of the earth. The mistake of ancient interpretations was to take a local phenomenon for a global event. God, being supremely just and good, could not destroy all of humanity through a material cataclysm. Divine laws do not act out of wrath, but through renewal and progress. Modern geology confirms this explanation. Studies of sediments and fossils show that there was no universal flood, but rather several episodes of large-scale regional inundations. Entre 7.000 e 10.000 anos atrás, o derretimento dos gelos do último período glacial elevou os níveis do mar, alagando extensas planícies e alterando o curso de rios. These events, especially in the Mesopotamian region, gave rise to legends that would later be compiled in sacred texts. Archaeology has found remarkable records of this memory. The Epic of Gilgamesh, a Sumerian poem dating back more than 2,000 years before Moses, already narrated a flood almost identical to that in the Bible, with a righteous man saved in an ark. These similarities show that the flood was a collective event in human consciousness, an ancestral memory transmitted from civilization to civilization as a symbol of purification and rebirth. Kardec explains that the symbolic language of the scriptures expresses moral truths through physical images. The flood represents the purification of humanity, the rebirth of life, and spiritual regeneration. It is not a punishment, but an allegory of the natural cycle of destruction and recreation that governs the universe, the same principle that rules geological eras and the evolution of spirits. Modern paleoclimatology supports this interpretation. Between 9,000 and 7,500 BC, the Mediterranean overflowed through the Bosporus Strait and abruptly flooded the Black Sea basin, covering entire villages. This phenomenon, confirmed by sediment and carbon studies, is believed to have inspired the flood myth in various ancient traditions. Thus, the Bible was not wrong. It merely translated a real event into poetic language, adapted to the understanding of the time. Spiritism adds that nothing occurs outside the laws of nature, and that these laws are expressions of divine will. The flood, therefore, was not a supernatural punishment, but a physical and moral revolution intended to prepare Earth and humanity for a new evolutionary stage. The same principle applies to contemporary crises, catastrophes, wars, epidemics, which are opportunities for reconstruction and spiritual learning. In Kardec's symbolic reading, Noah's Ark represents evolving consciousness, which endures life's storms protected by faith and divine law. The waters, in turn, symbolize the purifying strength of trials and transformations. When the rains cease and the rainbow appears, it is the spirit reborn in light after suffering. The flood, therefore, is a universal myth of rebirth, repeated in different forms across all spiritual traditions. Geophysics shows that the Earth continues to undergo cyclical changes, rising sea levels, earthquakes, eruptions, climate variations. But today we know that these phenomena follow stable and wise laws, without total destruction, always aimed at the planet's balance. This confirms Kardec's view that the flood is a symbol of the orderly and constant action of providence, never divine punishment. From a moral perspective, the flood teaches that humanity is reborn through its own storms. Every collective crisis is an invitation to awaken consciousness. Just as waters purify the soil, difficulties purify the spirit, and the new earth, more just and fraternal, is always born after the storm. If this reflection brought peace and hope, share it. Because understanding the biblical flood is realizing that God does not destroy to punish, but transforms to regenerate, and that every rain prepares a new dawn.